And the crazy part is, guys, it does seem to be true. A video this past week or so, maybe a bit later actually, brought to me first by Richard Lewis. And if you guys want to check out his content for his 2 cents, I did reach out to Astralis and Nikola for comment on this story, and it does seem to be very much true. Richard Lewis sharing his 2 cents, and actually first originally reported by Win.gg, that being Astralis founder and owner Nikola, apparently wanting to make an FPS or a CSGO competitor in the FPS genre, and it does seem to be true. Now, given their history, I know a lot of you guys watching out there have different thoughts and approaches to Astralis, and especially a guy like Nikola with their involvement in the past with the scene. There's a lot of reasons why Richard Lewis and Thorne have given their negativity, especially towards a character like this, and I would say justifiably so, with their past. You know, originally back in the way back in the day, remember where Astralis had their hands not only on Astralis, but teams like Heroic and Godsent forced to divulge those interests, as to a same offense that many players have had, where, you know, you play for one team, they give you ownership, you leave that team to play for another team, that creates a conflict of interest, which CSGO has now responded to a couple of times and not allowed. Now, according to Richard Lewis, when Blast Pro Series was first in fruition, it was meant to be a league for Astralis only, you know, partially tied teams. Of course, that did not work out, and eventually we also saw Astralis and Blast Pro Series have to separate financially because of that conflict of interest as well. Certainly, Astralis had a slew of things in the scene that have caused a few people out there to turn some curious eyes towards them, and I would say rightfully so. This other story out there is obviously just as crazy, because you think about Astralis as one of the most notorious names in Counterstrike history, and now one of their founders wanting to make a competitor in the FPS genre. As according to the article, it was actually a company registered back in late September. The original venture was set to be named Scattershot before the sudden withdrawal of Nihom's partner, who just so happened to be CS 1.6 creator Min Lee, who left the planned fundraising venture while the programmer finishes development on Plan 8, the next game from Black Desert Online developer known as Pearl Abyss. As it was originally unclear as to whether or not Nihom would continue on, as it was actually set to be a first-person shooter on par with Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Riot Games Valorant. And I actually spoke to Nihom very quickly on this. You know, I luckily enough have him as a contact, and I will continue to do so on these Astralis stories, so thank you to him for his 2 cents. It's really up to you guys as to what you do believe about this, but he does confirm the rumors about him actually founding a studio to make an FPS game, what he says will not be directly tied to Astralis. Now, I imagine if you guys did watch Richard Lewis's video, if you didn't, I advise you to, so you get, you know, all sides of this story as to what he has a pretty crazy theory, but, you know, maybe not far-fetched for a lot of people out there. If this FPS competitor were to actually take off, and all of a sudden you have these Astralis CSGO guys under contract, who's to say they're not going to be made to actually play that competitor as opposed to CSGO. Now, I do not imagine that would happen. It still seems pretty far-fetched in my opinion, but who knows? A very last comment from Nikola as well is this studio is actually backed and funded by a lot of figures in gaming and esports, so whether or not it has a future, we will wait and see. It's just a crazy think about where we are right now in 2020, guys, where Astralis, supposedly a founder of Astralis, that being Nikola, you know, one of the most notorious names in CS history, might want to make a competitor to CSGO, or at least a game in the FPS genre, around the same time that Valorant has also seen a gigantic rise backed by Riot Games. Is this like the best time or the worst time to try and make a CSGO competitor? I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Until next time, as per usual, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Drink your water, drink your coffee. I'll catch you guys back here sometime soon. 2020 continues to be a crazy year, huh?